this is a problem I've had for many years, and I still have it. And that is everyone says, make your plan. So this is what happens. We get to the table and hello, there we go. Okay, we get to the table and we say, you're in your contract, you bid the perfect contract. We say, that's it. All our declarers make a plan. And you say, oh, I counted my losers. I have one too many losers. Wait a minute, is that really a loser? Wait a minute, what's a loser? Maybe it isn't a loser. What am I supposed to be thinking about? And then Deborah or Phil or I say, well, does everyone have their plan? You're like, no, my brain looks like this because it's not that easy, right? So I'm going to try to connect today the counting of the winners and losers with the making of the plan. And I'm going to borrow some stuff from Phil. So we're going to try to integrate all this together to make it easier to see, we hope, how to make the plan. So of course, this isn't easy. So let's just all say that right away is even though the plan seems easy, when you operationalize it, it's not always just that easy. So why is it not that easy? Well, one reason it's not that easy is because there is a lot of stuff to think about. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's no problem. Just don't expect to be perfect at this, and it takes some practice. So expect all of that, right? Last night I was playing in my regular game. I did the first 4 tricks perfectly, and then I imploded and went down 2. So, it doesn't end after you play. I've been playing bridge, competitive bridge since 2002. So whatever, 20 some years, and I'm still making stupid mistakes. So, it happens. Don't beat yourself up over it. Even though it seems like in textbooks and presentations that counting winners and losers is straightforward, when you get real hands, it can be there can be gray zones. So your plan may require you to do several things, like rough a loser in the dummy and a finesse. And when you start putting that stuff together, then, brain explodes. So just, give yourself some grace on this. Your plan may have to rely on a specific order, and sometimes it's kind of hard to know that, right? So we're going to try to figure out how we might know that. Sometimes it requires you to see ahead, and I am still not very good at this after 20 some years playing bridge. So the only way to get better at this is to just keep playing. Come ask questions. Sometimes your plan will benefit from information in the auction and the lead. So that's like one more thing to squeeze in there. So, you've got this. Give it a try, because what we want you to do, everyone to do, is develop good habits. I'm going to ask Deborah. Deborah, how many times are you like, I wish I would have thought about this at trick 1?
8 million.
Okay, good. So we could both retire rich if we had a penny for every time we actually made a plan.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm regretting not having made my plan last night. Okay, so, even seasoned people, it's work. But the point is, it's kind of like, if you get in good habits now, it will become easier and easier and easier. If you wait to get in good habits, you'll be old like Deborah and me, and you'll still not be doing it right. Right, Deborah? Okay, so today we're going to review Phil's stuff, and we're going to integrate information. And then instead of this, we're going to look like this. And that's what we want, is everybody to be happy. All right, so the overall strategy is similar, but a little different, depending on whether you're counting in no trump or in a suit. And I know you've all had this before, so we're going to go through it at pretty quickly. In both cases, the first thing that's going to happen is you are going to look at what was led, because that might help you, okay? In no trump, you're going to count your winners, and you're going to compare that to the number of tricks you need. So if you need 9 tricks and you have 8 winners, darn it, you need 1 more. If you need 9 tricks and you have 9 winners, happy day, right? In a suit, you're going to count your losers. This can be a little bit trickier because sometimes not having a loser depends on doing something to prevent yourself from having a loser. So we'll talk about that. But first you want to count your losers, and then you want to compare that to the number of tricks you can lose. So if you're in 4 spades, you can lose 3 tricks. If you have 4 losers, we got to find some way to get rid of one of those losers. In both cases, once you've done the counting, I've divided this up into counting and planning, because sometimes the counting can be difficult. Sometimes you can count and then you're like, well, what do I do with that information? Right. So we're going to try to help with that today. Develop your plan. In both cases, you want to know, can I make my contract right now? And if not, what can I do to make it? And if I can make my contract right now, awesome. Can I get any more without risking my contract, the success of my contract? Okay. And you'll notice that play to trick 1 is way down here after all that stuff. And see, Deborah, and our problem is we sometimes play to trick 1 like up here in step 2, and then we didn't have a plan, and then everybody can see it when we go down in flames, right? So it's good to get in the habit of doing this before you play to trick 1. Okay, and then you'll be able to hit the staples, that was easy button, and you'll say, oh, this game is such a cinch. I have yet to meet anyone who says that, even pros. Don't worry, it won't happen. None of us can live long enough for that to happen. So we said we were going to count winners and no trump. So we're going to start there. And some of the skills of observation here when we count our winners are going to apply to suit tricks, suit contracts, even though we don't count winners in suits. So bear with me here. We're going to start with sort of a basic review. So what's a sure winner? A sure winner is a trick you can take without losing the lead. Okay. So you can think of it like immediate winner. I can win it right this instant. That's a sure loser or sure winner. Is an ace always a winner? Are you always going to be able to play an ace and no trump and win the trick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always. And like Phil says, we don't want to catch air, right? We don't want the ace to win the 2, 3, and 4. But an ace is always a winner. What about if you have just the ace and the king? How many winners is that?
2.
2 winners. We're always going to be able to take 2 tricks right away without losing the lead. Okay. Ace, king, queen. How many winners?
3.
3. Exactly. How many winners here? The T is for 10.
3, 4, 5,
Possibly 6.
6.
6. Yeah, sure. You can play all those in no trump. There's no trump. Nobody can trump that stuff. You're going to get your 6 tricks. What happened to my, I let Ted in and then. Okay. So now we're going to make things a little bit harder. Here's your hand and your partner's hand. How many of the top total cards do you have here?
3.
Trish, you answered a different question. Just keep that in the back of your head. How many of the top cards do you have there?
Between you mean?
4 out of 5. 6.
You got 6.
Yeah,
You got 6. Yeah, they're all the top cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I didn't see those.
Okay, but Trish, because you already answered this one, how many winners are there here?
Well, at least 3, and it depends how many other diamonds you've got. Otherwise, you have to cancel each other out.
Exactly. If these are all you have, even though you have 6 top cards, the king, when you play the ace out of this hand, dummy has to play the 9. When you play the king, dummy has to play the 10. And when you play the queen, dummy has to play the jack. 3 tricks. That's all there is here. So, of course, we just said that ace, king, queen, jack, 10, 9 is 6 winners. It's 6 winners if they're all in the same hand. If they look like this, it's only 3 winners, right? Because you're going to play the ace and the 9 is going to fall. You're going to play the 10, the king and the 10 is going to fall. So a tricky thing a little bit is to remember that the number of your top honors doesn't necessarily equal the number of winners. I don't know. There's probably some technical name for this. I call this like my honors and diamonds are redundant. It doesn't help me to have the jack 10, 9 because if these were the 2, 3, 4, it'd still be 3 winners. Okay. So this is where, like Trish said, now if I had extra diamonds here, those might become winners. So just avoid the temptation to think that if you have 6 top cards and they're arranged this way, you don't have 6 winners. You only have 3. Okay. That's because you can't have more winners than the number of cards in the hand that holds the longest holding in that suit. There's only 3 diamonds in either hand. The most you can ever get in no trump is 3 diamond tricks. That's it. Okay. Now, if they're arranged like this over here, can everybody see my, let's see if I can get my little,
we can see it.
let me see if I can get my spotlight here, this. All right. If they're arranged like this, now these same cards get you 6 winners. Okay. So let's keep on keeping on. Okay. So what happens if you have a suit where the only one in the suit you have is the ace and the only one your partner has is the king? How many winners?
1.
Winner, because when you play the ace, the king is going to
Yeah.
fall. Now, what if you have the ace and that's it, and your partner has the king and the 2? Now, how many winners do you have?
2.
Right, because when you play the ace, you're going to play the 2 out of this hand, and then your king is still going to take another trick. So you guys are pros. You've got this down. I'm going to come back up here to this example. Trish, you figured this out early. If we add the 8 here, now we get the ace, king, and queen. And because the 8 becomes high, we get a 4th winner here. Okay.
Yeah.
So high cards win tricks, but long suits also win tricks. We add the little 8 over here and we get an extra trick. Right? Okay. So now in this sequence, what big card are we missing?
Queen.
We're missing the queen. So right now, how many cards in this suit can we win without losing the lead?
2.
2. Good going. I heard Dot say that. So you play the ace, you play the king, then you have to lose 1. Okay, so we have 2 winners. But what happens if we play the ace, the king, and then the jack, and we lose, the opponents take their queen? Now, how many winners do we have?
5.
3 left. 3.
We get these 2 and we get these 3 for a total of 5.
Yeah.
So we only have 2 winners, but we have 5 potential total tricks if we make the opponents take their queen. Okay. And many of you will remember Phil saying, lose tricks now to win them later. And this is an example of that. So sometimes you'll see me say, when we get to planning, under what conditions can you get your 5 tricks? You can only get your 5 tricks if you take the ace and king and then you force the opponents to win their queen. That's the only way. If you play the ace and king and then you never play any diamonds or whatever this is, any in the suit, you'll never get this 10, 9, and 8. So this is an example where you must sacrifice a trick to the bridge gods in order to get yourself 3 more. And I don't know about you, but if someone told me I could trade in 1 trick to get 3 more, I'd be like, hey, that sounds like a pretty good deal, right? Someone told me I could give them $1 bill to get 3. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good trade. So are there any questions about this before I move on?
No, pretty clear.
Seems like
finessing. You could finesse.
Finessing. Yes, you could finesse. You could finesse, but if the dummy has a void in that suit, then that's not an option. But you're right. You're absolutely right, Dot. A finesse would be another possible tool, right? When we count our winners, we have to sort of take this approach, and then we might find ways to create more winners. So you beat me to the punch for later. So just hold that thought. Okay, so this is a sure winner, and now we're gonna get a little more advanced here. How many winners is this if your partner has the singleton queen in that suit?
1, 2,
8.
7. 7.
You can take these 7 exactly. And when you play the ace, the king, the queen is going to fall, but then all of the rest of yours are good, right?
Right.
So you have 7 tricks here when partner has the singleton queen. If partner's singleton is the 2, instead of 7, how many do you have?
You have 6 unless the queen's on top of a doubleton.
Yes, you have 6 unless the queen is doubleton or unless you finesse, right? But the condition to get those 6 is that you have to lose the queen if it doesn't show up somewhere, right? That's the condition. Now this one's a lot of tricky, okay? So here's the key to this. I want you all to tell me how many in this suit the opponents have. How many cards do the opponents have?
4.
2.
You have this, and
Got
your
2.
partner has the 9 and the 2.
So they just
So they
have,
have 2. They have 2.
They have 2. And what 2 do they have?
Jack and the queen.
Queen and the jack.
And
Queen and
why you're missing the queen and the jack? So why aren't the queen and jack going to be losers? Why do you have all those winners?
There's only 2
Because they
cards
will
out
have to
there.
play. When you play your ace, they'll have to play either the queen or the jack.
Right.
And when you play your king, they have to play the other one.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
So this is a case where, in some of the earlier cases, we had examples that were like ace, king, queen, 6. You're missing the queen and the jack. But when the opponents only have the queen and the jack, you don't care. So this is a case where not only do you have to think about how many high cards you have, but you're going to run the opponents out of their cards, right? So that's it. When you have a lot of cards between you and your partner, right? 9 here, 10, 11, they only have 2 cards. If you have the ace and king, all of these are going to be winners. And you know that for sure. It doesn't matter who has them. It doesn't matter. There's nothing they can do about it. They've only got the only cards you're missing are the queen and the jack. Now, how many, if we take this definition of our losers, how many tricks can you take in this suit without losing the lead? What's the answer here?
None.
None. That's right. We can't take any tricks right away. If we play one of these suits, the ace is going to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many possible future tricks might we get if we start this suit?
1, 2,
3.
3.
At least 2. At least 2. It depends what the other 2 cards are.
Yeah, at least 2. If we play the king and they win the ace, we're definitely going to get the queen and jack for sure,
Yeah.
right? And if our partner has some of these cards and the opponent's cards divide evenly, we might even get these little ones later on. But we know for sure that if we play the king and they take the ace, we can get ourselves 2 more. That's a pretty good trade too. Give up 1 trick, get 2. Okay, so planning for more tricks in no trump. Sometimes we'll be able to plan for more tricks if something. In this case, the if is if we lose the ace, we can get 2 more. But boy, we have to go losing that ace. Okay, we can't be afraid of the suit. If we don't lose the ace, we're never going to get this, never going to get our 2 extra tricks. So how many winners do we have here?
5. 3, 4.
4.
I hear votes for 4 and I hear votes for 5. And that's
4.
exactly why I've got this up here. We definitely have 4, right? But how many total spades do the opponents have? How many do we have?
4.
We have 9.
9.
We have 9. So
4.
the opponents have 4. So what's going to happen when we play our 4?
Even if
They're-
it's a 4
They're going to have to play the 10 and the 9.
So we have
We're going to play our 4. We're going to play our queen. Then we're going to play a little one to the jack. Then we're going to play the king. Then we're going to play the ace. And all of theirs are going to be gone. So one of these cards is going to become, our extra cards are going to become good, right? They only have 4. And
Yeah.
we're going to take all 4 of them. So in this case, remember I said the maximum number of winners you can have is the number of cards in the longest holding. So you're going to be able to get 5 tricks out of this. And this is because you know the opponents only have 4 between them, and you can take your top 4. Okay. And like Deborah always says, you're going to lead high from the short side. In this case, the short side is the 4-card side. So you're going to lead high from over here, and you're going to get yourself over there, and you're going to have 2 more tricks left at the end. Now, if I do this, now we only have 4 sure winners because they have 7 of these and we only have 6 of them. So they have 7. If 2 fall on this and 2 fall on this and 2 fall on this and 1 falls on this, these will be good. But if one of the opponents has 7 of them, we're only guaranteed 4 here. So my point is, in this situation, because you have so many of them, you are guaranteed all 5. You're guaranteed to win 5 tricks. When the opponents have a lot of cards, if they're not evenly distributed, then you're only guaranteed 4. And that's because winners can come from high cards. We've seen that. They can come from long suits, and they can come from a combination. Right? The example here is a combination. Not only do you have 4 high cards, but you also have lots of them between you. So here you have high cards and length in both the suits. And you can run the ops, that's the opponents, you can run the opponents out of their spades. So you do want to count your top cards. And you also want to think when you have a lot of cards in a suit between you and your partner, you want to try to figure out, can I run my opponents out of their cards? Okay. In these cases that we talked about up here, here's an example. You can lose 1 trick to gain 2. So how many do you have to lose to make more of your tricks winners? And just a shout out to Phil. In No Trump, we love to lose tricks early when we have to, if it means we can guarantee tricks later. Okay, so just a little reminder. So that's the end of our, this is another good example of the combination. Here you have high cards, but you also have a whole bunch of length in the suits, and that's why the ace and king are going to drop the opponent's outstanding queen and jack. Okay, it's because you have a combination of these things. It's the luckiest situation. All right, so let's look at an example here. We won't belabor the bidding because that's not the purpose. South is going to open a no trump. North is going to open 3 no trump or bid 3 no trump, and the lead is going to be the 7. So let's talk about how we go about like a step-by-step process here. Let's see. We want in no trump, we want to start in a single suit. We want to count the winners in that suit in one hand, and then we want to count them in the other hand. So let's start in spades. In our hand, how many winners do we have?
1.
In our hand, right down here. Do we have any winners?
No.
No.
Nope, none. What about in dummy? How many sure winners do we have?
One.
1. Okay, good. Now let's go with, we'll tally that up. 1 total winner. Let's repeat in the other suits. How many in our hand? How many sure heart winners do we have?
2.
2. And what about dummy?
None.
None. Right. That's too bad. Okay. 2 winners. What about if we move to the clubs? How many sure winners can we win right now without losing the lead?
None.
None. Not a 1. Now, in dummy, do we have any sure winners?
No.
No. Okay. So when we're counting our losers, we have no sure winners here. We're going to come back to this though. Now in our hand, how many winners do we have in diamonds?
1.
1. And what about in dummy?
1.
Okay, so we're going to add this up, and we've got 5 winners, and darn it, we need 9 tricks. Okay, so now we're going to think about, the first part is counting the winners. We've done that. We're confident we've done it correctly. Okay, And now we're going to move from counting the winners to making a plan as a result of that. Okay. So first we count our winners. We did that. We've got 5. Now we're going to look for ways to make more tricks. Now in No Trump, there are 3 primary ways we make more tricks. We set up high cards, and I've put the links here to Phil's lesson 1, 4, and 5, which talk about this if anyone wants to revisit that. So that's promoting or establishing our honor cards, our high cards. Do we have the chance to do that here? Is there any suit where we could promote high cards?
Clubs.
Clubs, thank you. Yeah, so that's in our toolbox here. As a matter of fact, if we lose the ace, we have now how many winners if we lose the ace?
1,
3.
2,
3.
3
or
more.
4.
That's 3 more,
So that's
right?
8.
Because
8. That's 8 altogether.
Would be.
Not winners, not winners.
winners, right? We can only take a total of 4 possible winners because we only have 4 cards in a suit, and we know the king is going to have to go to force the ace,
Yeah.
right? So we'll get the queen, the jack, and the 10 are going to be our suits. So here, we're going to revise our plan now. We had no winners in clubs, but we can guarantee ourselves 3 winners under the condition that we lose the ace. That's the one thing we need to remember here. We got to lose the ace. Do we have any long suits, 6, 7 card, 8 card suits to establish here? No, that tool is not good for our toolbox here, right?
What'd you say?
Right.
What
Yeah,
about a
the clubs is
finesse?
the longest.
The spade.
The spade. Yes, we could try to finesse the spade. So if we finesse the spade and it wins, we might turn the spades from 1 winner into a possible 2 winners. So now when we count up our winners, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 winners for sure, and possibly 9. So we've made ourselves a plan here, right? We have the makings of a plan. This is the part that I think is the most challenging. We have this information, and now we have to decide what to do with it. So I've made a little thing to do, a little rubric to follow to count our tricks and then move that into a plan for playing the hand. And good things to literally say to yourself, and I mean like literally, like talk to yourself, I have blank number of sure winners. I need blank more tricks. Okay, I am certain I can get how many more tricks if I do something. And I might be able to get another trick under these conditions. Or maybe this we can do twice. Maybe we can ensure a trick with one thing and then ensure a trick with another thing. So let's try this. We already talked about the fact that when we counted up the red numbers when we started, we had 5 sure winners. And we needed 4 more tricks, right? And we talked about the fact that we are certain we can get 3 more tricks if we force the opponents to take their ace of clubs, while we still have stoppers in all the other suits, right? What's going to happen if the lead, let's say the lead is a heart. What if we win the ace and king of hearts right away and then play our clubs? I see Janie maybe shaking her head.
Yeah, vulnerable
right?
in hearts if you just dish out the 2 high cards.
Right. If we take our winners right away in hearts, when the opponents get in with their ace, they're going to play all their high hearts. That's no good, right? So this is a condition for this.
Right.
I might be able to get 1 more trick by finessing the queen of spades. There's a condition for that. In order to finesse the queen of spades, where do I have to start playing the spades?
In your hand.
In my hand. Exactly. Okay. So this is the situation. We're now going to make a plan using this information. Here's the plan. We're going to win the lead, which was a heart. For those of you curious, it doesn't hurt to hold up 1 round, but you might as well win the lead here. Now, we said one of the conditions for this was having control of all the other suits. So we are going to these are the things I have to do if I force the opponents to win their ace. We are going to force the opponents to win our ace or lose your losers. We're just going to play clubs. We're going to play clubs until they win their ace. And I'm not going to play any other suit first. I'm not going to play my heart stoppers. I'm not going to play my diamond stoppers. And I'm not going to play my spade stopper, right? We're just going to force the opponents to win their ace. Now, after we do this, we're going to play the king of clubs. We're going to play the queen of clubs. Maybe they finally win the 10 of clubs and our jack is good over here. Whatever they lead, we are sure we can win it. Well, why are we sure? Because
we played our high cards.
Yeah, right. Because we kept all our stoppers, right? So that's why it's important that we do it in that order. So I got my 3 club tricks. This is going to be my plan. I'm going to win the lead. I'm going to keep playing clubs until the opponents finally have to play their ace. I'm going to gather up my club tricks. I'm going to come over here to my hand in these diamonds, and I'm going to try that spade finesse. So this is the way that we can translate once we count these winners. You know, I've got 5 winners. Well, heck, how do we make that into a plan, right? By asking ourselves these types of questions. So one thing I'm going to address is people say, but what if the finesse doesn't work? Well, there's a 50% chance the finesse is going to work. And if you don't take the finesse, can you ever win any more diamond tricks with your 2, 3, 4, and 5?
No.
And can you ever win any more heart tricks?
No.
And can you ever win any other spade tricks any other way?
No.
So this is your only chance. And if it doesn't work for you, it isn't working for anybody else. Okay. So everybody's just kind of like, we're all suffering in the same boat. This is our only option. Some chance is better than no chance. Okay, Deborah, I'm counting on you to keep me on time here. So tell them I'm up and we'll quit. So the process is count your winners. Look for these 3 things in No Trump to see what you can do. Can you promote your own high cards? Can you take advantage of your long suits? Or is there a reasonable finesse? Sometimes you'll have multiple of these that are options. You'll want to think about which option gets you the most tricks, which option has the highest percentage chance, that sort of thing. Then you're going to make a plan. You're going to make a plan by saying how many sure winners you have, how many more tricks you need, finding ways using these 3 methods to ensure more tricks if you do stuff, and things you could try like a finesse. You're not sure it will work, but you know, a girl can always hope, right? Then you're going to use this to plan the line of play. And these things, the ifs and the conditions, are the things you want to watch out for. I can get more tricks if I lose the ace and king. Well, then you better go about doing that right away, right? So I just want to remind everybody, you know, bridge is like anything else. It takes practice. And here we want you to kind of establish a routine. Deborah and I are going to try to establish the same routine. You want to practice the habits, even if your plan doesn't always work out. I mean, that's how we learn. And sometimes we make no plan, like last night when I made no plan. And, you know, that's a mistake and everyone makes mistakes. So no one's going to beat themselves up over that. Warning is, when you try to add something new, like I'm going to ask myself, how many winners do I have? How many more do I need? What can I do to ensure more tricks and what might work, right? When you add something new, your brain feels pretty full, okay? At first, you may say, wow, I made my plan, but then I forgot to watch for when the opponents took their ace. That's just the natural result of trying to add more stuff, right? For those of you who've already learned transfers over No Trump, at first you forget them a bunch and then you end up in the wrong contract. But then when you do it and you remember them, you get into better contracts played out of better hands. You know, when you try to add stuff to your brain, sometimes it explodes, right? Our first graphic, but just keep with it and your performance will improve. And the best thing you can do is try to establish new habits. I'm not going to talk at all about the things I'm going to put down here next. I'm leaving them here for folks to look at who have been in the program a while. So if you've been in the program a while and you're confident with the basic plans, these are some things you should think about. We are not going to worry about this list of things today because our brain is full with the stuff we're already talking about. So let's have an example here. All right, count our winners. Let's do this. How many winners do we have in spades? Sure winners. Two. Okay, good. And let's see, how did I do this? Oh, I didn't do it. And how many winners do we have in hearts?
Two,
Okay, so we're up to 4. And how many in clubs?
4,
Two.
3, sorry, 3.
Two.
Oh,
Sure
3.
winners without losing the
2,
lead.
yeah,
Just
sorry,
the ace and
2,
king.
yeah, 2,
Right?
you're
Yeah,
right.
okay. So we've got 2 spades, 2 hearts, 2 clubs. That's 6. And how many in diamonds?
1.
7. Okay, we got 7. We got 7 tricks. We need 9, so we need to try to find 2 more. Okay, so these are the things we're going to do. Oh, where are my answers? Okay, so we need 2 more tricks. Are there high cards that we could maybe use to get another trick?
Clubs.
Yes.
The diamonds.
Clubs or diamonds. Okay, so let's look at that. So in clubs, if we play the ace and the king, what's the one outstanding card we have left?
The queen.
And if we play our jack, can we force the queen to appear?
Yes.
Yes.
Most
So
likely,
in
yeah.
yeah, in clubs, we can lose 1 trick and we can guarantee now 1, 2, 3 tricks in clubs. Okay. So we've taken our clubs from 2 to 3 tricks. The other thing is the opponents have to have some clubs, right?
Yeah.
So if we play the ace, let's see how we have 5, 6, we have 7 clubs. If we play the ace and they each play a club, they have 6. That's 2 of their 6. If we play the king and they each play a club, that's 4 of their 6. Now, when we play the jack, someone's going to win the queen. That's 5 of their 6. And when we come over here and win our 10, that's going to be the last of their clubs. Okay, as long as they each have 2 clubs. So now we're going to get an extra because of the length. So as long as each opponent has 2 clubs, we're going to be able to get not just 1, but 2 clubs out of this. And we said we have 7 tricks and we need 2. So this is the highest probability way to get extra tricks. There's the possibility of finessing against the queen and the jack of spades. If one opponent has the queen and one has the jack, your 9, 10, or 8 could become good. There is the possibility that you could maybe win the queen of clubs. But so we've got 3 options here, and that is a lot to think about. We're certain that we can make 1 more trick if we play the ace and king of clubs, go over here and play the jack. We're certain the 10 is going to be good. And as long as everybody has a club on the ace and also on the king, we're certain because of the length that we have that that the 5th club is going to be good. So that's probably the highest probability, but there are certainly other options. So we have the possibility for a finesse in spades. We have the possibility of leading a low diamond here and winning the having this person have the king. But the surest way to do this is to win the opening lead, play the ace and king of clubs. You got lots of ways to come over here. You can come over here in a spade, or you can come over here in a diamond, play that jack, come back over here, and you'll have 2 good clubs left. So that's how we translate this into a line of play. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about suits. And Deborah, you remind me when it gets to be 5 and I'll quit and we'll do something else. You're also going to look at the lead, but in suits, we're going to count our losers. We're going to compare that to how many we can lose. And then we're going to do the familiar thing. We're going to develop our plan and play to the first trick once we have it. And hopefully we'll be able to hit the easy button.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, sure, of course, Jane.
What does play to the first trick mean?
Oh, play to the first trick. That's an excellent question. The opponent is going to lead, and you are going to get to see dummy. And you need to do all your planning before you pick a card from dummy. And that's what play to the first trick means. So if we go back here, when this happens, the opponent makes an opening lead. You don't immediately play the ace. You go through this whole process and decide what you're going to do before you touch any cards. Even if this ace is your only heart and you know you have to play it, you want to be a Boy Scout. You want to be prepared. You want to do all your thinking before you start playing on that opening lead. So does that answer your question, Jane?
Yeah,
Alex?
sort of. I'm just a little slow tonight, or every night.
Well, we can talk about this.
Time, please.
Sure.
Allison, you've got about 5 or 6 or 7 more minutes.
Oh, that's perfect. If we don't get to stuff, we can do it later.
Yeah, we'll do it on the fly.
We'll do it on the fly. Yes. The when the 3 of hearts is played, you are now this is what the opponents play. They lead the 3 of hearts. You can now see your hand and you can now see the dummy. And before you pick a card to play on that 3 of hearts, before you do that, you want to make your plan. And as soon as you pick a card, either the ace of hearts or the 5 of hearts, you have played to the first trick.
Got it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you kind of want to think of this like, like being a Boy Scout. Like, I want to get all prepared and have my plan in place before I call for any card from the dummy, right? Because the place you go wrong most often is the first trick because your plan isn't set. Another thing, which is sort of, it's tangential, but it's a little bit bridge etiquette for those of you who play in real life. It's very acceptable when the opponent leads to take 30 seconds, 60 seconds to make your plan. What's less acceptable is to play 2 cards and then sit and think for 30 seconds. Okay, so it's a courtesy to the opponents. Kind of once you start playing, you want to have it, have your plan, have your plan generally in place. Now, sometimes there's things in the play that surprise you and then you might pause, but you want to do the bulk of your thinking before you ever play a card on that opening lead of the opponents. Does that make sense, Jane?
Yeah, it does.
So
Thank you.
Allison,
Yeah, so we will.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Allison, real quick.
Sure.
So would you, because you got to figure out where you want to be with your clubs. So what would you take that first trick with?
Oh, that's a great question. So
Okay.
if I didn't have very many ways to get back to this hand, I would take the first trick with the king and preserve the ace as a way to get over there. But I have 1, 2, 3 other ways to get over there. Okay. So in this case, it's going to be totally inconsequential. There are cases though, Linda, so I like that thinking, where it matters. And because you asked that question, this is exactly what I mean by you can go wrong at trick 1. Let's say your only way to get over here was this ace and this ace, and you won the ace at trick 1. Now you're down to just one way to get over there to play those clubs. So at trick 1, you would want to think, you know what? If these spades are over here, I better play a little one and save that ace. Play a little one, win this. You could play the ace and king all the time from over here. Go over there with a diamond, play, and now you still have the ace of hearts if you're lacking these. So the concept you just asked about is really important, because if you have a transportation problem getting over to your long suit, you really want to think hard at trick one. And that's why we say, do
Wait a
this stuff before you play to trick one, because you can see how it could be a problem, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Deborah, should we count some losers or no?
I think we should
We should. We'll count a couple losers and then maybe
count
we'll
some
play.
losers. Right.
Count some losers. Count some losers in suits. A loser is any trick where you're pretty sure the opponent must win the trick. Okay. Usually this is because you have tiny cards, like low cards, 2s, 3s, 6s, 8s, that aren't winners and you can't trump them. Sometimes the opponents can trump, if you're in spades and you play an ace of hearts, they can win that ace of hearts with the little 2 of spades. They can trump your high cards. This happens a lot less frequently. Okay. The main thing is you have little cards that aren't going to win tricks. Okay. So not all losers are the same. A fast loser is a situation where the first time the suit is played, you are going to lose it. In other words, the opponents can win that suit right away. That is a definite loser. Here's an example. You definitely have one loser, right? The opponents are going to, the first time you play a club, the opponents are going to win it, right? Okay. A slow loser means you can stay in control either the first or second time the suit's played. So we can win one heart and we can win the second heart, but we are going to have to lose a third heart, right?
Yeah.
But we got some time, right? Because we can win the first one and we can win the second one. So it's a slow loser. It's going to take the opponent some time to force us to lose our tricks. The opponents have to lead the suit either 2 times. In this case, they have to lead it 3 times. The first time we win it, the second time we win it. We don't lose until the 3rd time. So the advantage we have here is we do have one eventual heart loser, but we might be crafty and find a way to get rid of that thing. Okay. So fast losers, you can't really avoid. I mean, can you avoid losing the ace of clubs here?
Nope.
Unless your opponents are asleep. No. Right. And I have been the asleep opponent. So sometimes, you get lucky. But with a slow loser, sometimes you can find a way to get rid of one. So you can't usually get out of a fast loser, but you can also often plan your way around a slow loser. So the process for counting losers here is we're going to pick the hand with the longest trump. So in this case, you're in 4 spades. What hand has the longest trump here?
Your hand.
South. Yes, your hand. So that's our hand. That's going to be our reference hand. We're going to call that. We got to count the losers. So we're going to go by each suit and we're going to say we're going to use this hand's perspective. Okay. But when we do that, we're going to do one suit at a time. And we are going to count from this hand's perspective, but we are going to take a look at at our partner's hand for cards that might make up for or win one of our losers. Phil calls this covering a loser. Okay? So a card that might make up for one of our losers would be a high card, or could be the ability to trump one of our crummy cards. All right, so let's look at spades. Spades. How many losers do we have in spades?
None.
None.
None. We don't have any spade losers. In our hand, how many heart losers do we have?
None.
None. We don't even have any hearts. We got a little bonus, though. In case we have a loser here, in some other suit, we should just make a note that the dummy has a bonus winner. Ooh, that's tantalizing, right? That's zesty.
Yeah.
Okay, in clubs, we have one loser. We have to lose the ace of clubs, right? But after we've done that, we don't have any losers.
Oh,
How many losers do we have in the diamonds?
none.
None, right? This 2, this 2 is going to be won by our ace, and the 7 is going to be won by our king, and our queen is a winner. So we only need 4 tricks, and darn it all, we only have one loser. So we can get 6 tricks We've added up all the losers. We have a single loser. That loser is the ace of clubs, and we know what our plan is. We're going to pull the opponent's clubs. We're not going to be afraid to lose the ace of clubs. We're going to take the rest of the tricks. Okay. Deborah, are we at time?
We are, but this is so good.
Well, maybe Phil can give the last half of it at another time.
Okay.
We don't want to, people don't want to keep listening to me yammer. My students never want to
You
listen to
were
me.
great, Allison. Thank you. You were great.
Yeah.
So we can do this another for fun. We can finish it another for fun time. Or I'll tell you what, Deborah, I can just record it, the rest of it, and people can watch it whenever they want.
Oh my gosh. But we want you to be a coach after the break.
Well, I mean, I can record it,
Oh,
you
and
know,
then-
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
So